It is time for Conversations with Damien. Welcome to our session today. Today I'm going to be the teacher and I'm also going to be the student. Sometimes there are things that happen in my life and I have to stop and step back and I say to myself, now if I was at a Damien workshop or at a Damien conference, what would Damien say? And you who are watching this can always go to the Conversations with Damien group and have access to any of the video teachings that I have talked about. Today, I've got a question for you. What's holding you back? What's holding me back? Why do I sabotage things in my life? Why do I procrastinate in my life? Do you know, we're not the only ones that have this problem. Research has shown that 90% of people, at least 90%, don't achieve their goals, and therefore they don't experience success. You know, Romans tells us in chapter 7, the 15th verse, the Apostle Paul, he said, the things that I want to do, I don't do, and the things that I don't want to do, I find myself doing, and I'm doing these things, and it's a vicious circle going on, and I don't understand what's going on with me. We operate using about 5% of our conscious mind or our conscious brain. Our mind is divided into two groups, the conscious and the unconscious or the subconscious. And the conscious is the home to our short-term memory, and it's where we do our critical thinking. The subconscious is where 95% of all of the activity goes. It is where our intuition is, it's where our emotions are, it's where our values are, it's where our beliefs, it's where our long-term memories are stored. The subconscious or unconscious part of our mind is like the hard drive on the computer. All of the data that has ever gone in our life, it's a storehouse for all of our memories, all of our experience. It records absolutely everything. Do you know, I was abused as a child, and for about 36 years, I had a dream every single night. And when I was about 36, I asked my grandmother, finally got nervous and asked her about this dream, and she said, how do you know that? And she started crying. And I said, well, because it seemed like I was there. Now, in my subconscious, in the storehouse, that's where it was. But you see, our conscious mind is our protector and protects us. The conscious mind knows what you input to it, but doesn't know the unconscious mind part. But the unconscious mind knows all of your history, all of your addictions, all of your good behavior, all of your bad behavior, every single detail that's gone on in your life, plus it knows what's happened in your conscious mind that's going. The way I can explain this is kind of like this, that you learn how to ride a bike, and I've never been on a bicycle, so I'm just kind of surmising here. You learn how to ride a bike, and you learn how to balance, you learn how to pedal, and you learn how to put your body in such a way that you're not going to fall off, right? Okay, and maybe 10 years, maybe 20 years down the line, you haven't ridden for a while, but you can still get on the bike and you can ride that bike because your subconscious mind knows how to kick into gear the muscles and everything that perpetuate that. You don't even have to think about it. It's become habitual. So very much of this, the conscious mind controls when we're awake. It controls the voluntary movements of our body. It controls when we speak. And the other side is the imagination, the creativity, the expressiveness. Our feelings, our perceptions emanate from it. And when we look at it, we have to learn how to, you can never get rid of your subconscious thoughts, but you can learn how to reprogram your conscious thoughts so that the positivity in your life outshines the negativity in your life. I often say that the path of success is often littered by our own trash, and the obstacles that we place them ourselves. Habits that we have are so ingrained in us that we no longer consciously do them, but we do them on autopilot. When you get up in the morning and you go to brush your teeth, you don't think about brushing your teeth. You do it because that habit has been so ingrained in you. Same thing with our subconscious. There are habits that are ingrained in us that we have not yet learned how to maneuver, that we're not good enough, have doubts that come up and they attack us in our life today, and therefore we don't achieve the goals and we don't achieve the experience of success that we really want to. It's like we're serving two masters. You know, we're serving our goals, and then way back here in the subconscious was mommy, daddy's, society's, whatever, somebody's view of what our life was supposed to be. You know, you're supposed to follow in your father's footsteps and be a lawyer, be a doctor, do this, do that. And that's somebody else that has programmed, but that's still part of us. So successful people are simply those with successful habits. So in order to be able to turn this around to what's holding us back, we must learn how to be in this present moment right now. And that present moment has to reach deep down into where the subconscious actually lives, which is in our true self here, our inner self. And we do that, as I talk a lot about, by intentional breathing. Before you speak and you tell somebody off, or before you give them the finger, which would be how you want to act and how you want to be critical, you simply stop, you take a deep breath, connect your breath with your soul, allow your heart chakra to connect with your mind here, to come from the place of your authentic self. Freud said that the mind is like an iceberg. The tip of the iceberg is on top of the water that represents the conscious mind. But the largest part, the part under the water, represents the unconscious mind. Samuel Johnson said this: the chains of habit are too weak to be felt until they are too strong to be broken. So here's my point. When we set a new goal, we must do something different, something that we're not currently doing, and most of the time it will be something uncomfortable. We must develop a new habit. Unless we do that, we're going to go to bed at night, and that subconscious mind, which is what controls how we do things, that subconscious mind which throws things in the conscious mind that make us act critical, this belief that we're not good enough, we're not deserving enough, that shows up in anxiety, as perfection, as procrastination, has to take on a new dimension to it. We have to learn how to built self-awareness to distinguish that this voice of not being good enough is simply a persistent limiting belief that comes from the old hard drive. Now, talk about me a little bit, because I know me better than anybody else does. Part of my hard drive says I'm not good enough. Part of my hard drive is the fear of success. That may sound strange. Most people have the fear of failure. Have the fear of what happens if I succeed. And I get to a certain level on projects I do, and then I self-sabotage, and I have success anxiety. Do you know the little colored blocks that you see on Facebook that I put little sayings on that go in those little blocks almost every day? I've done that for like 15 years. I approximately have 3,000 of those or more. Those sayings I get from inside. I get from when I meditate, and people say, oh, you know, you have such wisdom, you have such this, that. Those sayings really changed my life. I have sayings that I put in a 4x4 book, never done anything with it because I'm afraid to do it. I'm afraid of the success of it. I've been writing a book for 20 years. In fact, I've written 3 books. A couple of them I've had edited, and they still sit waiting to be published, because in my mind, I keep saying I'm not good enough. Do you know, I was listening the other day to Deepak Chopra, and Deepak Chopra and Mariel Hemingway a couple of years ago were talking about grounding and about grounding yourself. And I kind of rolled my eyes, because 20 years ago, I began the process of taking off my shoes, standing on the grass, and connecting with Mother Earth, which is where we came from, the earth, and the electromagnetic fields in the Earth's center, going around pulling the negativity from my body and grounding myself to the earth. And here they're talking about something similar, and I go, yes, I've already thought of this. And quite often, I will think of things, I will write things, and I'll read something somebody else has said, and it's like, well, why didn't they go further on it? But I feel like, well, maybe I'm a fraud. How can I be a fraud? I've got a doctorate in spiritual studies. I've got a certificate in cognitive behavioral therapy. I've practiced drug and addiction counselor. I've been a minister that studied the King James Version and all the different Gospels. And I'm a, what is it? I'm a, what do you call it? A Christian psychologist. But yet inside, because the hard drive, the subconscious, I hear grandfather saying, you'll never amount to a hill of beans. You're never going to do this. You're no good. I hear one of my professors in college saying, you'll never make it in the ministry. You're too colorful. And yet, sometimes we get bogged down in that. But when the doubts come, those doubts will become fears if we don't stop them. So when we hear it in our mind, it's time to take an action. This is why I talk to us a lot about in the morning, to do the meditation, to do a 1 or 2 minute meditation in the morning to center yourself for the day, so that your mind, that monkey mind, doesn't run away with you. If that monkey mind runs away with you, I guarantee you're going to sabotage your day. I guarantee rather than thinking about recovery, you're going to begin to think about relapse. I guarantee you're going to think about failure rather than about success. So all those accumulated doubts that we have, they get transformed into fear, and fear paralyzes us. I've said this before, that fear is the greatest emotion there is because it paralyzes us and stops us from acting. And the only remedy, the cure for fear, is to take action. You know, Mel Robbins has a wonderful book, and it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, the 5-second rule. And it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, take action. But we get distracted. And distraction is one of the things that holds us back. It's one of our worst enemies. So in the progress of a goal that we have, a project we have, we need to set a time to work on our project. Choose a place to work on our project. And it needs to be a time and a place that we're comfortable in. One of my friends, Jennifer Nevin, who wrote All the Bright Places, the movie, and also the book, and she's written several books. She's a world-acclaimed writer. She writes. She writes at the same time, the same place. She has a habit of sitting there and writing and writing and writing. It doesn't matter what she writes. And I have several author friends that I've asked, would you please write my book for me and let me just sit and talk about it? And they say, no, your story is your story, and you need to be disciplining yourself to actually sit and do it. But all of them have a time and a place every single day that they at least write something. So we need to switch our cell phone off, and we need to put ourselves in a place where we're going to be uninterrupted, and we need to have new empowering habits that we establish so that that subconscious habit doesn't get in and overtake our conscious mind. We need to let go of comparison by turning our attention inward through the process of meditation. Just, who am I? Where am I? Do you know, Deepak Chopra said, once you know who you really are, being is enough. You feel neither superior to anyone nor inferior to anyone, and you have no need for approval because you've awakened to your own infinite worth. So today we must find that place inside where you know that nothing is impossible. Impossible. Spell it out for me. I'm possible. I'm possible. Will your beliefs be the reason you stop taking action towards the results you want in life? Or will you change them into an ultimate opportunity to create something extraordinary? Once again, I want to do the poem by one of my greatest teachers and authors that I read, and people that I listen to her lectures and has taught me for over 25 years, Marianne Williamson. Listen carefully as I just do this for you. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear, that's in the subconscious, our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Remember, as I taught last week, the little G, that God lives in you, in the soul here? Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. That's a sense of pride. That's a sense of the ego getting in, as I talked last week. We are meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us, the soul, the expression of God on the planet. It's not just in some of us, It's in everyone. It's in you. It's in me. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously, here's the unconsciousness, begin to give other people permission to do the same. And as we're liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And as we learn to take this unconscious mind and understand how it works with us, and begin to program the conscious mind with readings, with tapes, with positive messages, with affirmations. Do you know, there was a time that I was I came down with stomach cancer. And I went to the doctor, and the doctor told me that I had cancer. And I looked at the doctor and I said, well, you're in private practice, aren't you? And he said, yes, why? And I said, well, that means you're still practicing. And I said, while I respect your opinion, I also have a practice of my own. And I took 3x5 cards and I wrote on them, I see every cell of my body loving and healing every other cell. And when I got down to less than 100 pounds and I was wrapping a belt around me 3 or 4 times because I was skin and bones, I had those cards with me all the time. I would be at the store and I could hardly move and I could hardly stand up, and I would pull one out and I would read, I see every cell of my body loving and healing every other cell. That is what I was programming my conscious mind, because the unconscious mind not only knows the hard drive, but it knows what the conscious mind has in it. So just for today, let's put in our conscious mind that kindness. Kindness is the language that the deaf can hear. Kindness is the language the blind can see. Kindness. If you have a choice to be right or be kind, always choose kindness. Tomorrow on my 6 a.m., Monday through Friday, I'm doing 6 a.m., 2 to 3 minute meditations. Tomorrow's meditation is on gratitude. Tuesday's meditation is always with addiction and recovery, and Thursdays on physical healing. Next week on Conversations with Damien, I'm going to talk about emotion. Sending love to you, sending kindness to you.